Okay, I think we're live.
So, yeah, we should be live now. So, good morning. Welcome to Art Alchemy. Um, you're here with Ruth and Debs, and this
Mm.
morning we're going to be talking about what it means to be a contemporary artist, what contemporary art is, and the difference between contemporary art and the more traditional arts. So, should be quite a good conversation because a lot of people get these things mixed up, don't they, in terms of what you do as an
Mm.
artist. And
Mm.
I think we both consider ourselves contemporary artists, wouldn't we? So it's a good topic to talk about.
Yes, yeah. So often we'll talk about nature-inspired artists, often we'll talk about contemporary artists, but it is interesting people's reactions to who you are as an artist because they tend to just think, oh, you're an artist, you paint
Do
ev-
everything. Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything that they think that they might actually like you to paint that you can do. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a difference, isn't there? And I think in terms of like what it means to be a contemporary artist, for me, it's about being in tune with contemporary issues and what's happening in the world. And I almost feel like contemporary art is like you've got something to say, haven't you? It's not just, a pet portrait or something that looks pretty. I think it's got a deeper meaning to it.
It's quite deep, perhaps, but that's not to say that people who do pet portraits can't be quite deep too. Because I
Hmm.
know people, I mean, I certainly, when you connect to the personality of a dog or something like that.
Hmm.
So it's tricky, isn't it? Because there's contemporary art that are pet portraits too.
Yes, there are,
Just
but
to like, yeah.
yeah, but I think it's less likely to have somebody that does. But I'm thinking of people that kind of more, I suppose, have a realistic picture of a pet, say.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, but yeah, you can be a contemporary artist and do various different subjects.
Yeah, and I think whilst we're talking about it, there's lots of categories of art. So you can actually go down so many different routes, which is great as an artist because you've got choice, but also really tricky, particularly at the very beginning, because you can go down an art licensing route where you're actually like getting lots of your images on different, it could be within shops in a more sort of reproducing type way, can't you? You could go down the art publisher group where you become represented by an art publisher and are pushed out to lots of different galleries. You can, there's so many things where, what we were going to discuss today was where contemporary art fits into that.
Hmm.
Um, I'm just looking to see, and I still can't see you on YouTube. Just like, I really. Oh, it says live now.
Okay, that's good.
No, we're definitely live. That's all
Yeah,
right. I'm just double checking, and I should be able to see the chat. If
yeah, as soon as
anybody's
you're
out
there,
there and watching, do please give us an emoji or anything, just like something, just to like. I'm
show
going
that you're
to.
there.
Yeah, I'm going to do a little emoji and just say hi, just
Yay.
so that because we've not quite got, even though we've been done loads of episodes. There you go. I've done a little hi in the
Oh,
chat.
thanks,
So
Debs.
yeah,
That's
I'm
nice.
going to. Oh, it's got given me 25 experience points. I didn't even know that it did
Oh,
that.
that's nice.
That's because I've actually said hi in the chat.
Oh, lovely.
I'm sorry.
Saying hi to yourself. Um, yeah, but if there's anybody out there as well that wants to suggest any topics of conversation for us as well, we're always open to that, aren't we? So, or if you've got any
Yeah.
questions, comments, or anything, just leave them there. We do look.
And if you're a contemporary artist, then say what you think as we're,
Yeah.
or if you're not. Yeah.
Yeah, so we were talking just before then about the different kind of, I suppose it's like within that traditional marketing, was it the five P's? You have like product, price, promotion, place. So it's the place bit, isn't it? Where do you place yourself as a contemporary artist versus somebody who's a more traditional artist, or um, maybe somebody who's more on like the craft side of things? It's quite different, isn't it? It's quite
Oh,
different.
and we've done arts versus craft episode, haven't we?
Yeah,
And
it's quite different space to occupy, isn't it? I think.
and it is, but it was quite interesting because we found a lot of crossovers in that
Yeah,
episode.
yeah.
And I think that's what I was trying to say as well, perhaps with the pet portraits or other landscape artists, that there's going to be some crossovers, and that's probably why it's a little difficult for people to completely get that. But I think that from the point of view of, I'm just trying to think how to break this down because materials wise, we use different materials, don't we?
Yeah, yeah. I'd see for me, I don't think contemporary artist is like it fits into a specific subject or medium or style. If for me, contemporary art is more about saying something, expressing something, having something to say in the arts about contemporary life.
Yeah. Okay. So if we address that first, but also the materials are quite interesting because there's a lot of modern materials, and sometimes the way you use the materials will express that, what
Of
you've just
course.
said.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, you can use the mediums as an expression for that. But what I'm saying is, I wouldn't rule out somebody who's, I don't know, does textiles, for example, as just being
Mm.
a craft person. That person could be a textile artist and using textiles in a very innovative way. They could be doing installations in contemporary art galleries with textiles. So I suppose it's about the interpretation, the intention of what you're trying to do with that material, isn't it, rather than the material itself.
Yeah, that is quite interesting. Yeah. Yes. Sometimes the materials come into it because you may be, for example, what Claire Valentine does. She uses all recyclable materials to make her sculptures. And so that is a statement of a lot of contemporary issues to do with the earth and
The
what's happening
environment.
at the
Yeah,
moment, the
yeah,
environment.
yeah.
We're nature inspired artists. And I think that that comes into intention as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite interesting, actually, intention as a,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So, because a lot of what's going on in the world does influence our art, I think.
Oh,
I mean,
massively.
I'm,
Yeah, it's
yes.
for me. And it's that whole well-being piece as well, I think, isn't it? Where I think a lot of us have got to a point where the contemporary world can be quite anxiety inducing. You know, we spoke about this before, haven't we? How fast
Mm,
technology's going and
mm,
how social media, apparently we're more connected than ever, but I think it's made us actually more disconnected with people,
mm,
particularly people, you probably don't feel it as much, Deb's living in a small, close-knit community, but I think for people that live in cities feel that
mm, mm.
in terms of not
Yeah.
knowing their neighbours anymore and things like that.
Yeah, I know everybody. And that is
Yeah,
sort of, yeah,
that's quite
that's the
unique though.
nice thing about about living in a village. Sorry, not work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's quite unique, I think, from most people's experiences. So there's like a lot of contemporary issues, I think, that spill into both of our artworks and the way that we do things. And I
Mm,
think that does have an influence on where you position yourself in terms of what galleries you want to work in as well.
mm,
Because you've been doing quite a lot of open calls and things, haven't you, recently, Debs, and looking at different galleries.
mm,
And I'm sure that you've probably had that in your mind. You know, some galleries frame themselves as contemporary galleries, others don't, others just have, established artists, or might have artists that are now passed away and sell artwork that's, very rare. So you have to find your place in that as well, don't you?
You do. You have to find where you sit, and sometimes, I mean, it's a whole different story. The galleries, it's a whole different podcast. But um, yeah, you just sometimes you'll walk into a gallery and you're like, I don't really fit here. As in,
Yeah,
my art doesn't. Even if you like what's there, it's
yeah,
like this is lovely, but it's not me.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's difficult because sometimes they'll represent different types of artists and you might actually fit, but they've got somebody else who's quite similar and they don't want you for that reason. So there's that as well. So,
yeah.
but that is another story. And I think I'm finding it's nice to just go visiting and see as well, go and actually look and see how you fit. But your gallery is really nice because I've actually got some pieces in there now. But what I really like about your gallery is the ethos behind it and the fact that they've got art therapists from there. And so, sorry, when I say Ruth's gallery, she's represented there. It's not her own gallery, but that's a gallery in Brighton called Liberation Art Gallery, and the whole it's like they've got workshops. There's a lot of mindfulness there, isn't there?
There
There's a
is,
lot of
yeah.
well-being.
Yeah, and they do a lot for the community as well. So they also have, as well as the art therapy, the workshops are also about bringing people together into the space of the gallery, making it work for people and new people meeting each other.
Mm,
Um, and there's a lot of work that they do with local schools as
with
well, with
community.
children that have sort of neurodiversity and things like that to help them with art therapy.
Mm,
And there's lots of things that they've done in the past as well. Like there's an exhibition that they have once a year for kids that are in the care system to
mm,
exhibit their artwork there and have the opportunity to sell their artwork.
mm,
And all of the profits from that go directly back to the child.
mm.
So there's loads of things that they do in the gallery, and that was one of the things that caught my eye about it as well. I thought this is a different space that aligns with my values.
Exactly. And the reason that Ruth and I are together is because our values align as well.
Mhm.
So we've got that healthier mindfulness about the art. We believe that art helps our both mental health and physical health, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah, because and I think the reason it is because of that intuition and mindfulness and the way it makes you feel when and you can express yourself. It's that getting the inner out, isn't it?
yeah.
And don't all artists do that? Or is that a contemporary thing?
Um, to a certain extent, but I feel like with contemporary artists, that's really their focus is like expressing themselves. Whereas there's some artists that will create things that just kind of look pretty, you know? Or and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not belittling that, but I think there's just a slightly different take on the art and what the art means to them and expressing that.
I think it's some artists do hyper realistic stuff that is absolutely phenomenal. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, super,
Yeah,
super skillful. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And yeah, others might be capturing movement. And this is where it gets a little bit woolly because you go, but it could be a contemporary artist. And are
Mm,
you thinking that it's to do with intention then?
yeah, because there's also just thinking about the Brighton art scene, there's quite a lot of like trendy artists, I'd say, that are more like Banksy-esque type artists that to
Mm,
me it feels a little bit more like they're kind of just taking a concept that's on trend and reproducing that artwork for commercial reasons rather than creating something that's got more depth to it. So, and I think that's more to do with them probably just being more commercially minded than I am. Because I think being a contemporary artist, you've got to kind of let that go a little bit in terms of what the audience wants from you. I think it's about what you want to put out there.
It was really interesting because Amanda said that to run an art business, you almost have to flip it on your head. And you have to, because with a normal business, you look at what the customer wants,
The
yeah,
product, yeah,
the product, and then you create a product that's related to your ideal customer.
yeah,
But in an art business, the product has to come from you, and then you have to attract the people who connect to that product because otherwise you won't sustain it.
yeah,
It's like because it's about your development and stuff as well. So this is a tricky one because you obviously need to be finding your ideal clients and that, but your ideal clients, in the same way as finding a gallery that aligns to your values, your ideal clients need to align to your values, your aesthetic, what, that sort of thing as well.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's a little bit topsy-turvy, turning it on its head.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I was trying to say about there are artists out there that are purely commercially driven and will make artwork in a particular style for 30 years.
Mm.
And to them, that's fine. Obviously they're fine with doing that. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, there's space for all of us. But for me, as a contemporary artist, I think if I was doing the same thing over and over again, I'd get bored because the thing that I get out of it is that self expression. Whereas there are other artists out there that are clearly just doing it for commercial reasons and jumping on trends um, and doing it that way. And if they're comfortable with that, that's absolutely fine. If people are buying their artwork, that's fine. But to me, that's not a contemporary artist. That's somebody that's reproducing the same sort of thing and not really engaging that more emotional side of them.
So for you or for me as well, it's self-development as well, isn't it?
Mhm.
Which
Mhm.
I didn't even realize. I started doing art just because I enjoyed doing it. And then I was like, oh, I'm on this like self-development journey that I hadn't even realized. And um it's without a textbook.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can get guidance from people like us, but it's not like it's your own. You have to work it out for yourself.
Yeah, you do. That's the hard part, really, isn't it? Where you fit what you want to do, because there's so many options now.
Yeah. It's that's the exciting bit too though,
Yeah.
because you are the first viewer of your painting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. So hmm. So coming back to say we come back to materials,
Mhm.
right? So you'll get, and I'm going to go to watercolor. It's not our
Mhm.
mediums really,
Mhm.
right? So you've got this traditional watercolor look,
Yeah.
and then you'll get contemporary artists that are like pushing the boundaries of the watercolor and expectation and the sort of light layers and stuff like that. They'll go, you see things deeper with the color, and then you'll get even mixed media watercolor artists.
Mhm.
And it's quite interesting because I think it's easier with watercolor to see the difference.
Mm. Yeah.
Does that make sense to you, or am I just being?
Yeah, I think so. So, what you're trying to say that the way a watercolor artist might express themselves, what it looks like,
I think
contemporary
I'm talking about
artists.
application, if that is what I'm actually
Yeah.
talking about. So I think that there's a lot of experimental application to the contemporary watercolor artists,
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they're not afraid to break some of the rules that
Mm-hmm.
was previously there. And
Mm-hmm.
I know I did actually do a course with Janine Galizia, who is an international watercolor artist. And she definitely was like, yes, I use white. Yes, I do put I don't work because all watercolor artists work sort of like that. So the water sort of runs down, but it's not too fast. So you've got the control. And she was like, she works upright. She worked with like a wet, so she kept things wet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And and it was really interesting to see how she just was like, I'm going to do it my way,
Mm-hmm.
really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which obviously produces more unique results.
Mm.
So, which or more contemporary results, more modern results,
Yeah,
really.
because I think part of being a contemporary artist is pushing the boundaries a bit, isn't it? And coming up with something that is
I think
unique
so.
and different and forward looking, would you say?
Yeah, and innovative, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes. So it's using you, and I was thinking about it that we're talking about contemporary artists now, but people like the Impressionists would have been contemporary artists of their time.
Oh, yes. Yeah, definitely. They were seen as like doing something completely radical, weren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not sure we're as radical because we're not, because other people are doing what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a very good example of a contemporary artist, people who are literally on the edge of
Yeah.
newness
Yeah.
as well. So that's different from talking about intention and contemporary issues.
Yes. Yeah, it is. I would say that's more like, how would you describe them? Avant-garde, very cutting edge, quite controversial at times. And I'm thinking about artists like Banksy, who's done something like completely different by doing street art and bringing that into the contemporary art scene, um,
Mm,
versus what it was just known as graffiti before, wasn't it? But
mm,
he's done something quite interesting in terms of having that voice around social structures and politics and war and all sorts of things that he's brought into his artwork. So that's a really, you know, on the forefront of something different and something new, and it gets people talking.
mm,
So I suppose that to me, that's like the extreme of like contemporary art, and then you've got people that are probably just a bit more like me and you that are have contemporary things in our mind when we're creating the artwork, but we're not going out and graffitiing walls at night
no,
doing anything
I'm
quite
in my comfy
extreme.
studio or out on a nice day sketching.
Yeah.
Yes. But you do feel like you're breaking ground,
Yes, you do.
or
Yeah.
you're trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's important to both of us,
And
isn't
it's your own ground. It's
it?
not
Yeah.
like we're
Yeah.
not we're not as politically burning bridges or we're not doing any, it's just in our own small way.
Yeah. And in our own way, that's the important thing, isn't it? The authenticity in it, I think. It's about
Yes.
speaking what your voice is and how you want to say it.
Mm, yeah. I got a message from somebody the other day, Ruth, that was saying that they really enjoyed Art Alchemy. It's a bringing a gentle calm
Mm.
to the creative space, which was quite nice.
Yeah, yeah, we do, don't we? Because yeah, I suppose that's the important bit to us, isn't it? It's the health aspect and also making it accessible for everyone as well, so people can understand it and they don't feel intimidated by sort of sometimes they can be over intellectualized, can't they, when it comes to art and things like that. So that's nice to hear.
Yeah, it is. Just
Yeah.
thought it was a nice comment.
Yeah.
So yeah. Um, I think we've done a fair amount. I wanted to discuss the difference between contemporary and modern.
Mm. That's a word often misused in my book that gets my hackle up is modern. So modern,
Sorry.
do the art history on this. Modern art was sort of 50s, 60s era. And it refers to a period in art history when abstract art was becoming popular. So, and if we talk about art today, things that are happening now, that's contemporary, that's not modern. But for some reason, the word modern has been taken into everyday language and people refer to it as like modern, it's happening, it's here, it's
Hmm.
now.
Because that is actually a definition of the word modern, to be fair.
It
It's
is, but it's just when you're talking about art, the two things are different. So modern art is like 50s, 60s, and then contemporary art is, yeah, today. So, yeah.
but not all artists are contemporary artists today. I'm just like, sorry, I'm being devil's advocate.
Well, the thing is that where did I read it? I read somewhere that they argued that by definition, if an artist is creating art today,
At this point in
at this
time,
point
they
in
are
time, they're
contemporary.
a contemporary artist because they're doing it at this time. So it's an interesting one, isn't it?
Hmm.
But I think, yes, you could say that in a general sense, but I do think I think for me, I feel like there's a difference between people who call themselves contemporary artists and sort of regular artists or traditional artists. I do think there's a difference.
Hmm.
But the
Yeah,
great
because if
to
they're
hear from
painting in a
you.
traditional manner,
Yeah,
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 traditional techniques with
yeah.
traditional.
They're not wanting
And
to
I
push
do
any
find it
boundaries
easier
or
to think in terms of watercolor artists because I think it's just that easier way of thinking of
yeah.
it.
You think of as traditional as being like a landscape, don't you, or a picture of something that's quite representational.
Yeah, working in layers from the
Yeah,
background and
yeah,
building it up, and you do
yeah,
get some wet in wet, but dry, yeah,
yeah,
dry on wet on sorry, wet on. Oh, I know what you mean. Dry layers on top of dry layers as well. So
yeah,
you've got that sort of yeah. Often you're taught to watercolors in that way because it is techniques you have to learn really. So
mm,
yeah. Um, Interesting. It's interesting because I think that some of the definitions, but I think it's fairly straightforward. Do you?
yeah, yeah. I think so.
Have we learnt anything from this?
For me, what was interesting is talking about the different ways of using mediums and using that to push ideas and push boundaries and create new things.
Mm,
I think that's an interesting definition of it as well, because I was thinking mostly about what's the intention of creating the art more than how you use a medium to express those ideas. But I think that's an important part of it as well.
yeah. And I think for me, the idea of intention and the fact that your values are very tied up in the art.
Yeah, yeah, that's the
And
important.
if they are values that are related to, and I'm going to use the word the modern world, just but the contemporary world of today. And we now know that Ruth gets annoyed about the word modern.
It's more so, you know what it is more so? It's like it's more so when people describe like if you're on like an interior design program or something like that and they're using the word modern to describe something that actually that's quite a contemporary style. So yeah, it's a bugbear of mine.
Ruth loves art history. This and you can tell.
Yeah,
Do you?
yeah,
You do.
I
You're
do.
very interested.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love all of
And
that.
it is fascinating to see the development of things. And yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I think I think we probably can end the episode at that. It's
yeah.
about
I
half
think
an hour.
so.
However, you might want to talk about conceptual art before we finish. What do you
Yeah,
think?
we could do. So, like, conceptual art is part of contemporary art, and I think again that's probably at the other extreme of things, isn't it? Conceptual art, I suppose, if some famous examples would be like Damien Hirst's. He did the piece in the tank, didn't he?
Mm,
And Tracy Emin's Unmade Bed.
mm,
So it's very much about the idea behind the artwork and the concepts, hence the name, rather than the kind of the skilled application of paint or a medium. So it's really stripping it back to its raw idea. Quite often be, well, it's meant to be challenging and it's meant to be provocative because it's meant to provoke something within you that you have a reaction to. But just some people see it as not art because they can't see the skill in it, whereas it's actually just a visual representation of an idea. So quite often it's like installation work or could even just be sound or a video. Um, but
So it's
that's,
all about intention, isn't it, really?
yeah, yeah,
All about intention, yeah.
yeah,
Without the material. I mean, you've still got the materials, but yeah, it's a different sort of
yeah,
idea. But
yeah.
definitely contemporary.
Yeah, and the thing is, it goes way, way back as well, like the idea of conceptual art. So it's not a new thing either. Um, but yes, definitely contemporary, definitely quite often around political hot topics or subjects that are also quite challenging as well.
Mm, mm.
So if you take Tracy Emin's Bed that she did, was that back in the 90s? That was part of the Young British
Yeah, I think so.
Artists
Yeah,
movement, wasn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Around about then. Um, a lot of what she did, her construction of this bed was to do with gender, it was to do with female empowerment, it was to do with herself as a woman, what she was choosing to put on show. And it was to do with sexuality and things like that because there were used condoms on the floor and things like that. So it was really like it was really shocking, but the
Mm.
statement was about what it means to be a woman. Quite often, these topics, particularly back then, weren't ever like talked about in terms of, there was contraceptive pills there and all these sorts of things. So it was a really controversial piece, and people often refer to it now, don't they, when they're talking
They
about
do refer to
conceptual
it.
art.
Yeah, that's like, oh, it's not real art.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas if they stopped and looked at it for a while and really thought about what it
Was
means,
saying what
because
it
I
was
think
saying.
a lot of people feel very confronted by it, and that's the idea of it. That's what people don't understand. It's meant to provoke something in you that might feel uncomfortable, but it's
Mm.
giving you something to think about. That's what
Yeah,
it's
and if you think about it,
doing.
as an 80s to 90s woman, so I was a teenager in my
Mm,
80s, but in the 90s, I was, a young married woman with children. And it was hard as because you were also expected to do, we'd been fighting to go to work.
yeah, yeah,
And we were fighting to have a voice of like, within the workplace really. And but what ended up happening was you'd go home and you'd end up
you do both, wouldn't you?
doing you'd do both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And you did do both. And it's quite interesting because my with my grandchildren and my children, they almost have fought to have time with the children. And we
yeah.
were like, right, we're up, we've had the babies, we're back to work because we're 80s, 90s women. we're we're fighting to have that voice in the workplace. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and so that um conceptual type of art at the time was very, very relevant at the time to
Mm,
what was going on in society.
yeah, yeah, it's
Mm.
interesting. And I think I remember as well growing up in the 90s, there was this kind of lads culture that also crept in during the 90s that was a little bit kind of anti-feminism, I
So
remember.
you, yes, and yes. So you would remember from a different age,
Mm,
just that little
yeah,
bit of
different
difference in age
perspective.
group.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. And that might have been a bit of a backlash
yeah,
from what was happening with the
yeah,
women.
probably. Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
So
Yeah.
it is interesting because it's all relevant, and you almost wonder whether you can divorce yourself art wise from what's going on in society, because if the art's about you and authenticity, and then how then it's going to
Kind
be
of connected, isn't it?
contemporary in that
Yeah,
way, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
definitely.
Yeah, particularly if that's what you're trying to do. I mean, the my art's all about connection, so
Mm,
it's got to be connected in that way,
mm,
really.
mm.
So. Something interesting, which is probably slightly off topic, but that is particular to our art, is that we've got a well-being element to our art. And what I noticed with when I first connected to you, Ruth, was the brightness that comes through in our art,
Yeah,
and that's to do with it was it's I've noticed that people who paint bright art, there's often something in the background underneath that as they've had difficulties in the past.
yeah,
Sorry, so it is a slightly different topic, but it is quite interesting.
yeah,
So, but and I do think that depending on where we are in society, that can come across in colour and in that's quite interesting as well, and that is contemporary to when at whatever age we're in at the
yeah,
time.
yeah. That's interesting. And there's a whole psychology around colour as well, isn't there? And for me, I think I always wanted to help people kind of aspire to do better and to realize I think there's a lot of things that you can get caught up in, isn't there, in terms of like the news and how it can kind of have this, effect on you. And there are things that you can't control either,
Mm,
so it's quite easy to get caught up in that and feel a sense of despondency and, a little bit down about things.
mm,
But to me, it was always important to help people like see the positive sides of life
mm.
and
So if you ever see the news
tune
from the
into that.
70s
Yeah,
compared to the news from now,
yeah.
it's very doom and gloom now.
Even the weather reports now, you're getting warnings all the time about things when it's like above 25 degrees or like there's a bit of a storm. You never used to get that.
No, and in the 70s they used to always have some lovely like finishing story at the
Nice little
end.
story, yeah, about
Yeah.
like, I don't know, a squirrel that's like made its
Just
home in something really kind of, yeah, yeah.
yeah, there was a lot of fluffy bunniness as well, wasn't there? She's
Uh,
really nice. It's
yeah, I
just,
think we could do with a
yeah.
bit more of that, couldn't we? Because you don't
Mm,
hear the good news stories, do you? Very rarely. Um,
mm,
so that's what my art aims to promote, really, is that kind of that's where it comes back to like the well-being piece for me and
mm,
having that more abundance in your life as well. And to me, nature represents that abundance and that resilience that I think we all have in us as well.
mm.
So,
Yeah.
mm,
And I want to capture that feeling that you get when you're outside in nature and you're actually connected sort of in a mindful way, aren't you? And then you
mm,
come inside, and if you can have that on your walls on a dull, dreary day,
yeah,
then you have a little bit of that feeling
yeah,
inside as well.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, and I think we've covered. Yeah, the only other one is
Second.
performance art. I keep thinking about. I know I keep saying right, bye bye, and then I'm like, but performance art,
Oh,
contemporary.
that's an interesting one.
So
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, I definitely put that in the category of contemporary art, performance art. Um,
Do you know, I'm going to be really honest. I'm not sure I understand performance art. I don't think I've seen enough.
no, I've probably not either, to be honest. I understand that older stuff a bit more.
Hmm.
Um, Maybe that's because it feels a bit more familiar.
Hmm.
Um, there's like, what's interesting is there's been like performance art that's been done in the past that has been more of like a psychology experiment as well. Um, Trying to think what it was. There was one exhibition. It was a long, long time. It was a while ago. Two people stood naked quite close to each other. So for people to get in, they had to walk past two naked bodies. And I think one was a man and one was a woman.
Hmm.
And then they like recorded which way did they face,
Oh,
and depending on whether it was a man or a woman coming through, which way did they face as well. So that's interesting. So that's like art and
it's more analytical, isn't it?
psychological,
As
analytical
opposed
thing.
to intention.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's to see other people's reactions, but to see what happens.
yeah, yeah. So there are some performance arts that are like that, that probably you describe them as being interactive, wouldn't you? Because it's to do with
Yes.
audience participation as well as what's happening in that space.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. I think I need to like because I just don't think I've done as much. I am in a village in the middle of the England. And don't come across performance
Well,
art
maybe
that
we'll have to
often.
go to London, Debbie, and
We
see,
will have to go to London. Yeah. I'll come to
see
Brighton. We'll
what
go
we
to
make of
London.
it. Yeah,
Get myself out a little.
yeah.
Oh, and on that note, I will say, yeah, bye for now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bye for now. We will see you soon. See you next week.
Yeah, let us know what you think in the comments.
Yeah.
And